This is Intro to Fabrics, and today we look at just a quick introduction to fabrics and what to expect in this course. And to begin, I like to ask students, why are you taking this course? If we're in person or if you do come to some of our virtual meetings, we can talk about this and have a little more interaction. But for the first week, I just ask you to think about, why are you in this class and what do you hope to accomplish? What are your goals? The course outlines its purpose as follows. We study fabrics for interior design to understand the importance of textiles in society, to appreciate the visual and tactile beauty of textiles. How do textiles look to the eye? How do they feel against the skin? We studied textiles and identified the characteristics of textile products to predict appropriate end use applications accurately and to make informed design decisions. So you have to study different fibers, what a fabric is made of, different weaves, how it's constructed, versus maybe something that's felted or extruded. You have to study different finishes of textiles. Does it have a finish that protects from wear? Does it have a finish that softens a product? To make good design decisions. So what fabrics are appropriate for residential use, for contract, hospitality, healthcare, etc. This course provides an overview of the textile industry, including the basics of fabrics, fibers, and techniques, while also highlighting important historical context and cultural differences. So a little bit about textiles. We're going to go over today in the next lecture a little bit about the textile industry and the textile process. So this will be your introduction to the industry and to the process of creating textiles before we move into more specifics, such as sustainability, fabric construction, etc. So we begin the semester studying fibers and fibers properties, and that'll begin in next week, week 2. So fabrics are made from either natural fibers or synthetic fibers. So to make something into a textile, you have to start with some type of fiber. So in this slide, you're looking at examples of natural fibers. Natural fibers are made from animal or plant-based materials, and they include things like wool or silk or cotton, linen, jute, hemp, etc. So if you think about when you have maybe worn a textile or have textiles around your house that are made of natural fibers, those might include sheets or towels, cotton, something that's very light and airy and feels good against your skin. So natural fibers, the general characteristics are the ability to take dyes very well. So you can dye silk, for example, very well. They are biodegradable, meaning you can take a cotton towel, it can have its use in its life cycle, and then it could biodegrade. It can be biodegradable back into the earth. So that's something good about natural fibers. They're a little more sustainable. They're also durable, and they typically have a nice hand. They feel nice against the skin, excuse me. Versus synthetic fibers. Now, synthetic fibers are everywhere. Synthetic fibers are man-made materials. They're typically made from a petroleum or a plastic-based product. And they're designed to replicate natural fibers. And more, they actually do replicate the look and feel of natural fibers. Examples of these are polyester, nylon, rayon, acrylic, vinyl, etc. So where do we use synthetic fibers? We see those when we want to have a fiber or a fabric that's less expensive. It's typically readily available, stain resistant, water resistant. So in this example, you might see in this slide, you might see examples of synthetic fibers that are used in contract or commercial spaces. We might also use synthetic fibers for things like when we need a fiber to be more affordable. So for example, originally carpet was made out of wool or silk, and today most broadloom carpets are made out of nylon, a synthetic fiber. So we'll learn more about that, but this is just a quick introduction that there are two fibers, main fibers, natural and synthetic. After we go over fibers, we'll look at yarn. So you have to take a fiber and then weave it into a yarn and then somehow construct the textile. So we can do that through weaving, matting, knitting, things like that, but fabric construction. In this slide, you're looking at an actual type of weave. Velvets are created. Velvets are a fabric that have a raised surface, so most of us are familiar with velvets. And those are created through a pile weave, meaning that the weave creates a raised surface that's then cut, and you get that nice pile plush effect. Now, you may have heard the term a damask. So a damask is typically this type of design or pattern. It's a floral pattern that's large scale, and it usually has this kind of ogival design around it. But actually a damask or a damask is actually a type of weave. It creates that two-tone effect, and so you'll learn about different weaves in this class. You'll learn how to identify different weaves and apply those weaves to the best application. So for an example, a really heavy upholstery weight weave isn't suitable for window coverings, right? That would just look terrible in this picture. But as we learn about different weaves, we learn about there's different types of construction. This might be just a very simple plain weave that is open, right? It's loose versus tight. So it gives that very airy, sheer-like quality to the drapery treatment. So learning about weaves and how it relates to application, really important for interior designers. A lot of weaves are also patterns. So I kind of talked a little bit about that. So for example, a stripe. So on the left, take a look at the stripe right here. A stripe can be woven. So you can weave different color yarns to create a stripe. Or on the right, there's just an example of something that on the left could be woven, but also can be printed. So a stripe could be woven using colored yarns on a loom to create that pattern, or it can simply be printed. So you will learn in this class the difference between woven patterns and prints. Your final project, you're going to specify all of the fabrics for just a small bedroom project. But as part of that, you're going to study a design style and apply that to your selections. So you will be looking at fabrics from two approaches. How does it function? So that's kind of what you've been doing all semester. How does it function? And how does it look? And as you study different periods in design, in all your different classes, not just your history classes, what you're going to notice is that there's some fabrics and weaves and fibers that are more popular and associated with different styles. So in this image, you're looking at mid-century design. Mid-century design popular around the mid-century. 1940s, 1950s, a little further and beyond, where wool was very popular for seating and for flooring and leather for upholstery chairs and actually not very much fabrics in terms of window covering. So we'll take a look at that this semester. As you mature as an interior designer, it's important to have a certain sense of knowledge about products, including fabrics and fibers, etc., and to be able to verbalize what you want to see in your design solutions. So I show you this slide, and just to talk about analysis. So oftentimes your client will give you a picture. Maybe they'll send you or direct you to a Pinterest page and say, hey, I want to do my bedroom. I like this blue room on the left. They don't know why they like it sometimes. Sometimes they do. Our clients are more and more educated. But through these classes, you're better able to analyze textiles. So you might look at this blue image of a bedroom with that blue wall, and you might say, hey, do you like that it's high contrast between those blue lacquered walls and white furnishings? I'm liking how the duvet cover versus a comforter creates kind of a more kind of clean but casual lifestyle. Texture is added through the throw. And so you're going to be able to talk about these things, about the weight of the sheets, the fiber, it's cotton, maybe it's from Egyptian, maybe it has a thread count of 550 thread count. So you'll be able to discuss these things with your client. And an idea is great, but you do have to sell your ideas to your client, not just visually, but verbally. So here's just a few more analysis of some grass cloth that's either been embroidered or stamped. Another bedding ensemble with monogram shams, with a flanged edge, with a welt, with a leather chaise at the base, with a wool throw and a fringed edge, a matelassé coverlet. So you're going to be able to know these general terms and to use them in practice. Also, we're here for another reason. Some of you that I've met online over the break, you're here just to learn something new. Others of you are searching for a career in interior design or the textile industry, and there are a lot of places that designers can land within the textile industry. Here you're looking at a builder that I worked for when I owned my own business, and it was a local builder. And here you're looking at just their showroom. So builders have showrooms where home buyers can come in and purchase carpet and window coverings and tile and flooring. And this could be up to a 6-figure paying job. So these are long hours. You have to work with the public, but a high paying career. You can go into commercial design. So commercial design versus residential design. You can design corporate office, banks. My first job as an interior designer, as you get to know me a little better in different classes, I focus on residential design and hospitality of restaurants, design of restaurants. But my first job was actually corporate design and designing corporate offices for banks and to design the banks themselves. So career opportunity in commercial design, hospitality like restaurants, resorts, spas, and clubs. Within hospitality and commercial design, you could be an interior designer who actually designs the spaces. But if you like purchasing and if you like working with numbers, you can have careers to procure all of these different textiles and materials within the interior design industry. A high-paying, a needed job out there for interior designers. You may be someone who, instead of practicing interior design, you might want to blog, have a website, or write about interior design. My background in model home merchandising not designing for a specific client, but these are clients that there is a buyer profile that you design spaces around this kind of potential home buyer. And these still have to do with function, but this is more closely linked to sales and marketing. So you're creating a product, a large product that potential home buyers can walk through. So I really enjoyed my career as a model home merchandiser. You can be a sales rep or an industry representative. I know that often a lot of our local showrooms are looking for internships from our Phoenix College students. So see me if you're interested in any type of apprenticeship or internship with local showrooms. You can move into retail, work for places like Calico Corners, Bassett Furniture, etc. And that ends just the quick introduction to fabrics, why we study fabrics. It's a lot of fun, and I probably say this at the end of every first welcome lecture, but fabrics is one of my favorite things to teach. This semester, you might have a different instructor, and she has been in the industry for several years, and you will enjoy the class with her. We do have a materials library located on campus, and should COVID get a little better, we will open up our materials library so you can actually come in and get some fabrics and experience the fabrics in our material library at Phoenix College.